All right, get ready. Because this time, we're going back in time
No.
to the early 2000s New York City club scene.
Wow.
That
Okay.
source material is a personal diary
Interesting.
from a self-proclaimed seduction teacher who calls himself Brad P.
Okay, so like raw and unfiltered. What are we talking about here?
Raw, unfiltered, the whole deal. And get this, it's full of lingo like HB
HB.
for hot babe
Okay.
and AFC.
Right. I think I can guess where that one's going.
Let's just say it's not the guy you want to be.
Right. Right.
It's like a playbook
Oh,
from the early days of what we now call the pickup artist scene.
fascinating. So this seduction teacher, he's all about game, like a system for attracting women,
Exactly.
specifically in the club scene.
Yes, and he lays out his tactics,
Okay.
his observations about the women in the scene,
Hmm.
and his overall philosophy.
I'm intrigued already. Do his methods like actually work?
He definitely seems to think so.
Okay.
He's all about hard game,
hard game.
which he contrasts with, you guessed it, soft game.
So what he's advocating for a more like what, dominant approach.
Think shit test deflection, pushing boundaries, that kind of thing.
Huh. It's interesting because even today you see this debate in dating advice like, is it better to be the nice guy or the alpha male?
Right. And Brad is firmly in the alpha camp.
So assertiveness is key, even a bit of a bad boy vibe.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
And you have to remember, this is the early 2000s,
True.
pre-dating apps,
Yeah.
pre-social media as we know it.
Wow, the club was really the place to meet people.
It was the place.
And Brad was determined to master that environment.
He was. He even talks about how important it is to build a strong peer group.
Like wingmen.
Yeah, to boost that social proof
Makes sense.
and create a sense of abundance.
So he wasn't just focused on like one-on-one interactions, but like the whole social dynamic of the club.
You got it. He was creating an ecosystem.
Interesting. Like, if you think about it, it makes sense.
It-
Humans are social creatures, right? We're influenced by the groups we're part of.
Exactly. And Brad is very aware of that.
Okay.
He talks about how even high-status rocker guys
Okay. Those guys.
with like all the social capital in the world, they still struggle with women
Really?
because they don't understand the social dynamics and what he calls game.
So it's not just about looks or money. It's about like projecting confidence.
You got it.
That confidence that comes from understanding like the rules of the game.
It is.
And that's something that could apply beyond the club too, right?
Oh, absolutely. Networking events,
Yeah.
parties, even just like talking to someone at a coffee shop.
That's true.
That confidence and awareness of social cues can be incredibly valuable.
Totally. And that's where Brad's insights, even if a little ethically questionable, can be insightful.
Right.
Like he's like a social scientist in a way.
He is. He's observing and experimenting with different approaches to figure out what works.
And sometimes those experiments are, let's just say, not for the faint of heart.
You can say that again. There's this one story about a woman he calls H. Breadhead.
Teach Breadhead.
He meets her at a club,
Okay.
and she seems to be classic shit tester,
Oh, boy.
pushing his buttons from the moment they meet.
Uh,
He describes their first encounter like 6 months before,
okay.
and he opened her with a line about her looking like a horse girl.
Whoa. Okay, that's bold.
It is.
Did she, like, walk away?
Nope. She threatened to knock his teeth out.
Oh.
But he saw it as a shit test.
A test of his what?
His confidence, his reaction.
Interesting.
He basically doubled down using like playful insults and pushing her boundaries.
So he didn't back down?
Not at all. He met her energy with his own and even escalated it.
That's risky, but I guess it worked.
It did for him, and it's fascinating, right?
Yeah.
Like, why are we sometimes drawn to people who challenge us?
Yeah, why are we?
It's that saying familiarity breeds contempt.
Right.
Maybe a little conflict, a little push and pull, keeps things interesting.
Could be, at least at the start.
At least at the start.
It could also be about, like, showing confidence.
Mm-hmm.
By not backing down, he's showing that he's not intimidated.
It's true.
And that can be attractive, especially in a club where everyone's trying to stand out.
And remember, we're getting all this from his diary, so
Yeah.
it's his take on things.
His interpretation.
Yeah.
Okay, so it's important to, like, take it with a grain of salt.
Absolutely.
But even if we don't agree with how he does things,
Yeah.
it's really interesting to see him, like, break down these interactions,
Yes.
trying to understand the psychology of it all.
So 6 months after this first meeting,
Okay.
Brad runs into H. Breadhead. Again,
At the same club.
same club.
Wow.
She's surrounded by people, like just flitting around.
Okay.
And he describes her as a total party girl,
Oh, boy.
a professional flirt.
And he's, what, drawn to her?
He is, and he's determined to pull her away from the crowd.
And how does he do that? Like the same confrontational way?
He definitely turns up the heat this time.
Oh.
He uses a lot of what he calls hard sexual keno.
Keno.
Basically, very physical, very assertive touching.
Wow, so he's not afraid to get close.
He's basically saying, I'm interested, and I'm not afraid to show it.
Bold strategy.
It is.
Did it work?
It seems to be working. He even spanks her in the club.
What? In front of everyone?
In front of everyone.
Wow, and she was okay with that.
According to him, yeah.
That's surprising.
It is, and we're definitely not endorsing that.
Of course not.
But it's fascinating to see how he's always pushing the boundaries,
He is.
testing the limits in this environment.
And it works for him.
At least according to him, it does.
It does make you wonder, though, like, about the long-term effects of that approach.
It does.
Can you really build something lasting based on, like, dominance and pushing boundaries?
That's a great question.
Yeah, or is it just a quick tactic to get attention?
A question for another time.
Right.
Because we still have to see how this encounter with H. Breadhead plays out.
Okay.
And trust me, it is a roller coaster.
All right. I'm all ears. What happens next?
Okay, so last time, things were heating up with Brad and H. Breadhead.
Yeah, he was using some pretty intense tactics to get her to leave the club with him.
Right. So did his hard game actually work?
Well, if you believe Brad, it did.
He did.
He managed to get her out of there.
Okay.
But not without a few bumps in the road.
What do you mean?
Like dodging other guys,
Oh, boy.
navigating long bathroom breaks.
Sounds like a mess.
It's like a game of social chess.
Right. And don't forget, he's also dealing with the DJ chick who's having a total meltdown.
Oh, that's right.
So he's got these two very different women,
Yeah.
both vying for his attention.
Wow, talk about multitasking.
I know, right?
It's interesting how he handles it, though.
Yeah,
Like,
no.
he's clearly focused on H. Breadhead,
Right.
but he's still trying to, like, keep things under control with the DJ chick.
Yeah, he doesn't want to completely alienate her,
Right.
but he's not going to let her drama ruin his plans with H. Breadhead either.
Understand.
So he ends up driving them both to another club.
Another club.
Yeah, it's after hours.
Oh.
So they're the only ones there.
So like a private party.
Exactly. And get this, his friend is tending bar.
Oh, so the drinks are flowing.
You can imagine where this is going.
Things are about to get messy.
Let's just say the DJ chick's meltdown goes into overdrive.
Oh, no.
She ends up crying in the DJ booth.
Yikes.
And, like, everyone is staring.
Oof. That's rough.
Brad tries to be supportive,
Okay.
but she can't really say what's wrong.
So she's just, like, emotionally all over the place.
Yeah, and he's trying to stay detached.
Sounds like a classic case of pushing away when things get too real.
He even says it's disappointing that he won't be sleeping with her that night,
Ouch.
but assures us that there's always another day.
Wow, that's not exactly empathetic.
Oh,
It's like he sees these interactions as just, like, transactions.
That's a good point.
He's not really interested in, like, a deeper connection.
Right.
It's all about the outcome for him.
And that outcome, in this case, is hooking up with H. Breadhead.
So with the DJ chick out of the picture,
Yeah.
he turns his attention back to H. Breadhead.
Exactly. And remember, we left off with her making out with the DJ chick on the sidewalk.
Oh, yeah.
Well, guess what? Brad joins in.
He does.
He does. According to him, they all end up making out.
Interesting.
Which seems to, like, fuel his interest in H. Breadhead even more.
So it's like the competition makes her even more desirable.
Yeah, like it's a scarcity thing.
That makes sense.
And he uses some creative tactics to keep her attention.
Oh. Like what?
He starts singing made-up Hebrew songs
What?
to deflect other guys who are trying to talk to her.
Oh, so he's creating a distraction.
Yeah, making himself the center of attention.
It's like he's disrupting the flow.
He is. And as the night starts winding down, he starts planning how to get her out of there.
He's always thinking a few steps ahead.
He is. He knows there might be obstacles.
Like what?
Maybe she has friends she's supposed to leave with.
Mm.
But he's determined to pull her away.
It's interesting how he's always strategizing.
Right, like he's playing a game.
Yes.
So first, he suggests they go outside for a cab.
Okay.
Then he mentions getting Mexican food.
Testing the waters.
Exactly.
Seeing how she reacts.
And adjusting his approach based on her response.
Makes sense.
He eventually gets her into a cab.
Okay.
But then she throws him a curveball.
What happened?
She claims she hates people from Queens.
Oh, and that's where Brad lives.
Exactly.
Classic shit test.
It is.
Seeing how he reacts.
But he doesn't take the bait.
What does he do?
He just calmly tells her to get the hell in there
And she does.
She does.
Ugh.
She even lies down in his lap during the cab ride.
Wow, it's like a power struggle.
It is.
And he's winning.
He is. Now, he does express some hesitation about taking things further
Oh, why's that?
because she's so drunk.
Okay.
He doesn't want to deal with any drama.
Right. Or complications.
He even asks her how much she's had to drink, if she's taken any drugs,
Okay.
if she needs to go to the hospital.
It's almost like responsible of him,
Almost.
but I have a feeling it's more about self-preservation.
Probably.
Yeah.
But despite all that,
Yeah.
he can't resist the opportunity.
Give opportunity.
When they get to her place,
Okay.
she insists he come up.
So she's leading the way now.
She is. But then she reveals that she doesn't have money for the cab.
Oh, clever move.
It is.
Putting him in a position to pay.
Right. Shifting the power again.
It's a subtle game they're playing.
It is. But Brad sees right through it.
He does.
He refuses to pay
Good for him.
and challenges her to come up with the money herself.
Another power move.
Totally. And she does end up paying,
She does.
which Brad sees as like an investment in the interaction.
Interesting. It's like she's proving she's worth it.
Right. Like playing by his rules.
To earn his attention.
Exactly. So they finally get up to her apartment,
Okay.
which turns out to be this like luxury high-rise in the financial district.
Wow. Paid for by Daddy.
You got it. A little rich girl, as Brad calls her.
He seems drawn to a certain type.
He does. Anyway, she keeps shit-testing him
Oh.
all the way up to her apartment,
I don't...
mostly about him being from Queens
Right.
and having dirty clothes from the club.
Ah, classic.
But he deflects it all
Oh.
with humor, dominance.
Okay.
He even slaps her on the ass
Seriously.
and questions if she's giving him lip.
It's a delicate balance, you know,
It is.
between being assertive and playful.
Definitely. And they eventually end up in the shower,
The shower.
which Brad thinks is her way of, like, washing off evidence of a previous encounter.
Wow, he's pretty cynical.
He is. And, well, things escalate quickly from there.
I bet.
He describes the whole thing as a whirlwind
Okay.
of physicality and barely contained desire.
So the tension that's been building all night.
Finally breaks.
And of course, they end up having sex.
They do. But afterwards, something interesting happens.
Oh, what's that?
Brad starts reflecting on, like, his recent success.
In the club.
Yeah. He claims that his last two polls both took less than 15 minutes.
15 minutes. That's, efficient.
Right. He even says that club game has become super easy for him.
Wow, he's mastered it.
Exactly. And that he's ready to move on to other stuff soon.
He's always looking for the next challenge.
He is. But he does share some insights into his approach.
Okay, like what?
He talks about the importance of style,
Hmm.
building a peer group,
Yeah.
understanding club dynamics,
Okay.
and recognizing that even high-status guys often lack game.
It's a good reminder, you know,
Yeah.
that social success isn't just about, like, looks or money.
It's not.
It's about, like, social intelligence,
Is.
strategic thinking,
Mhm.
understanding people.
And then he leaves us with this bold statement.
What's that?
He says, the guys who pull have 3 to 4 girls chasing them. That's how you get laid in club game.
Provocative.
It is.
Mm.
But it's important to remember
Yeah.
that these are just his observations
Right.
and his opinion.
Based on his own experiences.
Right. And his potentially skewed perspective.
Exactly. We're only getting one side of the story here.
We are. And we'll dive deeper into those nuances in the final part.
I'm ready. Let's unpack it all.
So we've really gone deep into Brad's world.
We have.
A world of hard game and calculated tactics.
Right.
And like this constant need to win.
Yeah, it's left us with a lot to think about.
It really has. Like,
Yeah.
can we even learn anything from this guy?
Hmm.
Because his diary is entertaining, sure,
Yeah.
but ethically,
Yeah.
it's a bit of a gray area.
You're not wrong to be cautious.
Right.
A lot of what he describes is straight up manipulative,
Yeah.
reducing women to conquests.
Right.
That's not a healthy way to approach relationships at all.
Not at all. But I don't know, he does touch on some interesting things,
Oh, like what?
like social dynamics,
Hmm.
even if his ways of using them are kind of messed up.
That's true. He does stumble upon some valid points.
He does.
Take confidence, for instance. Now, Brad takes it way too far.
He does.
But you can't deny that self-assuredness is attractive.
Right.
When you believe in yourself, it shows.
It does.
And people are drawn to that.
It's like, you know, that magnetic pull
Yeah.
around someone who's just totally comfortable being themselves.
Exactly.
They don't need anyone else's approval.
They've got it already.
And that can be really attractive.
You can.
Of course, confidence without anything to back it up
Yeah.
is just arrogance.
Yeah.
And Brad definitely veers into that territory.
He does, but that idea that believing in yourself makes you more attractive,
Yeah.
that's a solid principle.
It is. And another thing Brad keeps bringing up
Yeah.
is understanding social cues.
Interesting.
He's always reading the room,
Okay.
watching how people interact,
Right.
and changing how he acts based on that.
He's like a social chameleon,
He is kind of...
blending in, adapting,
Right.
and ultimately getting what he wants.
Yeah.
Again, we don't condone his methods.
Not at all.
But being aware of social dynamics is valuable.
In any situation.
Exactly. Think about it.
Okay.
A party, a networking event,
Mm-hmm.
even a job interview.
It's true.
Being able to read the room and change how you communicate,
Yeah.
it can make all the difference.
It really can.
It's about understanding those unwritten rules, you know?
The unspoken ones.
Yeah, the cues that tell you if someone's interested
Or not interested.
or if there might be, like, some conflict.
Right.
Once you get that,
Yeah.
you can handle social situations with way more confidence.
Absolutely. And Brad also puts a lot of emphasis on style, presentation.
He believes that projecting a certain image can change how people see you.
Exactly. And he's not completely wrong.
No, I mean,
We shouldn't judge people solely on how they look.
of course not.
But first impressions are important.
They are.
How we present ourselves, our clothes, our body language.
Even our tone of voice.
Yeah, it all sends a message.
That's putting your best foot forward.
It is.
Showing the world you're worth paying attention to.
Exactly. Now, Brad takes this too far, of course,
Oh, he does.
focusing on dominance and exclusivity.
Right.
But the idea that presentation matters,
Yeah,
that's something we can all take away.
it is. So I guess what we're saying is
Yeah.
if you strip away all the manipulation, the bad stuff,
The ethically questionable stuff.
yeah, there are actually some good insights in Brad's diary,
There are.
but it's super important to remember.
What's that?
We're only getting his version of events.
Right.
We don't know how the women felt.
At all?
Did they feel flattered, uncomfortable? Exactly. We just don't have that side of the story.
And that's important
It is.
because relationships are a two-way street,
they are.
give and take.
Right.
Turning them into a game like Brad does,
Yeah.
it's dehumanizing.
It is.
And it's not going to last.
No, genuine connection.
Yeah.
It needs empathy, respect, a willingness to be open, to be vulnerable.
It's not about getting someone to do what you want.
It's about finding someone who wants the same things.
Exactly. So what's the takeaway here? What can we learn from all this?
I think the big takeaway is this.
Yeah.
Social dynamics are complex.
They are.
They're fascinating,
Yeah.
but they should never come at the cost of someone else's well-being
Right.
or their dignity.
Absolutely.
We can be confident, we can be socially aware, we can present ourselves well
Yeah.
without resorting to manipulation or taking advantage of people.
Exactly. We can learn from Brad's mistakes,
Yes.
not repeat them.
Let's aim for real connection
Yes.
built on respect.
And a desire for authentic relationships.
Well said. Until next time.